Ten years ago, on my 32nd birthday, I co-founded TFBTV with Alex Capps. Since then, we've had maybe a dozen different contributors come and go, each bringing their own take on guns, gear, the industry. And over the past decade, we've reviewed hundreds of firearms. A 500 S&W Mosin Nagant. Woo! That one's got a little bit more zip to it. That'll wake you up. From the absurd, and when the Saints, when they, like a football team, I go outside in my backyard. Does it, they do that in Turkey? Same thing?
Same thing, yeah.
To the iconic. To celebrate TFBTV's 10th anniversary, we're doing something we've never done before. This is our definitive list of all time, top 10 guns of TFBTV's first 10 years. We're breaking it into three parts. Today, part one, we're starting with the legends, the all-time classic firearms that we've reviewed on TFBTV. These are the guns that defined categories, broke molds, earned their place in the history books, while also forming some core content for us over the years. Next time, part two, we're going to get into the guns that built TFBTV. These are the less popular guns that left a mark on the channel and on you, our viewers, over the past decade. And finally, we're going to do a part three. We're going to wrap up with 5 guns that didn't make the cut, our honorable mentions, guns that we love, guns that you love, and maybe a few you'll be surprised didn't crack into the top 10, but let's get into it. These 5 are the legends. I'm a little torn on this one. I wanted to put the MP5 as 5, but I just couldn't. It's got to be the MP7. Rounding out the list at number 5, one of the coolest, most compact, most controversial guns we've ever had in TFBTV, the H&K MP7. The MP7 was HK's answer to NATO's demand for a modern PDW personal defense weapon that could outperform 9mm by punching through soft armor while staying controllable, portable, better capacity than 9mm, better range. So yeah, the MP7 lost that NATO trial to the P90, but it still won. It fires the 4.6 by 30mm cartridge, an armor-defeating round that was a bit of a beta cuck to the 5.7 Sigma GigaChad round used by the FNP90, the DeVito to 5.7 Schwarzenegger. In practice, though, the MP7 real-life bullet hose. It's light, it's fast, while being ridiculously easy to control. The 4.6 round, no recoil whatsoever. The gun itself so compact that it can fold into a kind of package that you can literally hide under a jacket. I've had the rare privilege of shooting the MP7 a lot at TFBTV, which is no small thing considering this gun basically unobtainium for the average civilian. I've gotten to shoot it out at Nellis Air Force Base during suppressor trials with European Special Forces units, but my favorite MP7 moment, special little moment for me, was training with the Czech Erna counterterrorism unit just outside of Prague a few years ago. These guys don't just use the MP7, they swear by it. According to them, it's more concealable than the MP5, it's lighter than the MP5, smaller, lighter than the P90, it delivers real firepower in an ultra-compact package. The MP7 is a modern Uzi. Unfortunately for most of us, we think we'll see the Epstein files before we see an MP7, but that's changing because HK has confirmed on record that they are actively working on a civilian MP7. This isn't speculation, it's not maybe someday. Well, it is maybe someday, but it's coming. We know that. No word yet on when, but make no mistake, it is happening. Until then, we'll keep giving the MP7 the love it deserves because it's earned its place on this list as a TFBTV legend. Number 4, Ruger Mini 14. If you guys watch these lists, you know number 4 is controversy slot, always. No gun we've ever covered on TFBTV has sparked more debate, more comments, more wildly different opinions than the Ruger Mini 14. Let's get the bad out of the way. Why is the Mini 14 bad? Let's talk about that. Accuracy, or more specifically, the reputation for inaccuracy. That reputation was earned through the early models, which frankly were less accurate than a James J. Reeves piss stream 9 beers in at the Floribama. But as we've said before, and I've shown here on TFBTV, it's inaccurate to say the Mini 14 is inaccurate. We've shot better than 2 MOA groups multiple times with the 5.56, the 7.62 versions of the Mini. Over a decade ago, Ruger reworked this platform to address the accuracy issues. Rifles with a 580- series prefix or higher in the serial number are significantly improved in the accuracy department. The newer, probably the better it's going to perform. One of the most popular videos we ever made of all time, still climbing today, 8 things the Mini 14 does better than the AR-15, except I only accidentally listed 7 things in the video if you go back and watch it. Oops. that was back in my crack phase. Still in my crack phase, but I was in my crack phase back then too. That video has over 5 million views as we sit here today. That tells you just how passionate people are about this rifle, whether they love it or they love to hate it. But accuracy isn't the only controversy. One of the most talked about videos I've ever made on my personal channel involved a mock jury experiment. Mock jurors got the exact same home defense shooting factual scenario, but only one variable changed between the two jury pools: the rifle. The fake jury pool shown an AR-15 saw it as threatening. The group shown the Mini 14, much more lenient. Why? Maybe because it looks like Grandpappy's hunting rifle with that traditional wood stock and classic silhouette. The Mini just doesn't look scary. And when you're facing a real jury in a real self-defense case, optics can matter a lot more than they should. It was intended as a quasi-tactical military rifle, but it didn't have all the tactical baggage, which is why it became popular with police departments throughout the 80s and 90s. In fact, it was famously used by some NYPD units well into the 2000s, and it's still in use today in places like Bermuda, I think. Now, sure, critics will tell you that the Mini's fallen off because you can get a solid AR-15 for half the price of a Mini 14, and that's not wrong, but it's also not the whole story. Mini 14s come with cold hammer forged barrels. They're available in all stainless construction. They use a fixed piston operating system that's reliable, easy to clean, makes them excellent suppressor hosts. Manufacturing a little bit more complicated. You're not gonna slap on an LPVO and an offset red dot sight and a quad rail, all that shit, but that's not really the point of the system either. It's a less intimidating rifle, legal in many states where the AR-15 is not, while giving you all the performance of the AR. Love it or hate it, the Mini 14 is a gun that sparked millions of views for TFBTV, endless arguments, and real conversations. That makes it our number 4. Number 3, let's talk about the FN P90, a legendary firearm that's also something of a personal kink for me. The P90 is the high-class foot fetish of the gun world, one of those guns that's so far ahead of its time that it still feels futuristic 35 years after it came out. FN introduced P90 in 1990 as a response to NATO's request for a personal defense weapon, PDW, something that could outperform 9mm in armor penetration, capacity, range, but compact enough for vehicle crews, support troops, whatever. What they came up with, the 5.7 by 28mm round, a flat shooting, low recoil and cartridge capable of punching through soft armor at range. The 5.7 round pitted directly against the 4.6 by 30 used by the MP7 in NATO trials, outclassed the 4.6 in every metric except for perhaps the size of the host guns. Technically speaking, 5.7 was adopted as the replacement for 9mm in NATO service, but in practice, nothing really changed. No mass rollout, no sudden phase out of 9mm, just a big old participation trophy for FN. But hey, look at the bright side. Me and my buddies had to outlaw dual-wield P90s along with Odd Job during our high school N64 GoldenEye duels. SS-190 Black Tip, the classic armor-piercing round, will punch through ceramic plates, and Kevlar helmets like my fist through drywall at the ATO house at Florida State. Even some civilian hollow points will blow right through soft armor and helmets. Enough about the ammo, let's talk about the gun itself. The P90, a masterwork of engineering. It's compact, it's got this bullpup design, top-mounted 50-round horizontal magazine that rotates rounds 90 degrees before they're chambered. It ejects down through the bottom of the grip, making it fully ambidextrous. It's lightweight, it's reliable. It fires at a cyclic rate that sounds like you just kicked over a hive of bumblebees on meth. But it's so controllable that you can literally fire it with your pinky finger upside down. If there's one limiting factor to the P90, gotta be the caliber. And what I mean by that is 5.7 is impressive to me. It's got impressive ballistics, but terminal performance is still debated. There isn't enough data out there because for years it was only available law enforcement communities, niche guns to niche users. The Fort Hood shooting, tragic as it was, proved that the round had capability in a civilian context, but it's still not enough to make firm conclusions. That's starting to change though. In the last few years, 5.7 has exploded in popularity. Ruger makes great pistols in 5.7. The PSA has the Rock or whatever it is, which is great, it's cheap. Kel-Tec's got some weird but functional 5.7s like the P50. Even Turkish companies like TSOS are in on the 5.7 obsession. There's now more 5.7 guns on the market than ever before, which means we're about to get a lot more real-world data on how this round performs, especially if someone empties a dump truck of 5.7s in Chicago. At the end of the day, the P90 is a classic, one of the most innovative firearm designs of the modern era. Compact, reliable, fun as hell to shoot. Come on, have you not done this? Here at TFBTV, we have a deep respect for what FN accomplished with this thing. It's earned its place on this list, not just for being cool, but for being truly ahead of its time. You know, shit, guys, I wanted it to be 5 because, like, MP5, but it's got to be number 2. The MP7, the P90 were built to replace it, but more than 60 years later, nobody's managed to knock the MP5 off its pedestal. The JFK assassination, the moon landing, all that shit was real wild and everything, but the MP5's introduction was the most significant event of the 1960s because, unlike the events I just mentioned, the MP5 actually happened. It instantly became the gold standard for submachine guns. Compact, controllable, modular, practically perfect. It's the reason MP5s are still in service around the globe, and while you've seen it in almost every video game or movie with guns, Die Hard, Call of Duty, Rainbow Six, whatever, there's a mystique to the MP5 that no other subgun has. Roller delayed action, smooth shooting, the HK slap, unmistakable silhouette, whether it's slung over the shoulder of a counter-terrorist operator or being cleaned on a range table. The MP5 carries presence like Thunder in Paradise Hulk Hogan, and if you didn't pick up that reference, you need to up your cinema game, my friend.
Hulk Hogan is Hurricane Spencer, the hottest hero of the high seas.
The SP5, the civilian version of the MP5, while HK has a long-standing reputation, deserved or not, of being reluctant to give civilian shooters access to their military and law enforcement guns, the release of the SP5 proved that HK was at least trying a little bit. According to my interview with HK's CEO, Michael Hawley, it's not just about being stingy with civilians, it's about navigating ATF import restrictions and Germany's own political pressure on arm exporting. Still, HK, let's play a little word game. HK, because you suck and we hate you. Even so, HK gave us the MP5. Not the watered down, overpriced 16-inch version from the 80s and 90s, I think, the HK94, but the same quality, the same factory, the same standards as the real MP5, just in semi-auto. Sure, they're expensive, but if you want the subgun, this is it. It's still in service with elite units across every continent, still respected, still relevant. Here we are at the top of the list, and I owe you an apology because this is one boring number 1, and we've got a two-way tie. You already know what it's going to be, so let me just go ahead and get started. The AK-47, a revolutionary carbine, double entendre intended, comrades. Invented by Mikhail Kalashnikov in 1947, it changed the face of small arms. It was reliable, simple, and brutally effective, which is why it became the most widely produced firearm in human history. Jihadis, Marxists, shonen anime fans, all united under the Kalashnikov umbrella, because when the patent expired on Eugene Stoner's chef d'oeuvre, the AR-15, everyone realized what a piece of shit this gun was, and a new world order was set into motion. People love to say the AK, it's so prevalent because it's easy to manufacture. That's bullshit. I've done it myself. Even at the smallest scale, building an AK takes a garage full of tooling, hydraulic rivet presses, barrel jigs, press plates, welding equipment, other items that would have your HOA on high alert. That's why the factories that make real AKs, which I've been to, are massive industrial operations, often the size of small villages. No surprise that when American manufacturers have struggled to make AKs profitably, they have failed. But the AR-15, you can build one in your mom's basement with a few wrenches, some parts off the internet. That accessibility, that ease, that modularity is what launched it into orbit, even though the Kalashnikov had a couple decades of a head start. It's lighter, it's more accurate, it's easier to shoot, it's easier to maintain, better optics mounting, better modularity, better trigger options, more parts availability, and in a lot of cases, more reliable under certain conditions. The AR isn't just America's rifle, it's everyone's rifle, even if you're a genetically inferior left-handed, air quotes, person. But we couldn't crown the king of rifles without also naming the king of pistols. The 1911, just kidding, you guys. Glock 19. My first non-SHOT Show video for TFBTV was a Glock 19 mud test. It's been my carry gun for years, and if you're going to talk about the most important handguns of all time, this is one that's always going to be on the list, usually at the top. The Glock 19, compact but shootable, affordable but reliable, a pistol small enough to conceal, large enough to shoot competition with. You can drop it on a nightstand, you can carry it appendix if you want to, or you can run it with a red dot and a light and take it to a USPSA match. It does everything well enough, and it's done it for nearly 4 decades. A true jack of all trades. And yes, I know some of you are going to say we're only including the Glock 19 because Glock sponsored the back half of TFBTV for 2025. But if you've been watching this channel for more than 5 minutes, you already know that I've been an uncompensated and unapologetic Glock sucker since day one. It just really pisses people off when a gun this basic, this plain, ends up being this good. The Glock 19 is the Toyota Corolla of handguns. It's not sexy, it's not fancy, but it works every time, and even your high school chemistry professor has one. There are objectively better guns in certain categories, in my opinion. The P365X Macro, it's smaller and lighter, but it holds more rounds than the Glock 19. The PX4 Storm might be softer shooting, more durable, it's hammer fired. Even the Canics from Turkey have better out-of-the-box triggers. If the Glock 19 were released today, I don't think it would break 10,000 sales. But it came out 40 years ago. It did everything better than anyone else at the time, and it's still going strong. No other pistol has the same simplicity, the legacy, the influence of the Glock 19. It's the standard, it's the reference point. It is the frame size and the mag pattern, the mag capacity everyone copies. It's the gun with the most accessories, the most support, the most everything. The top guns on this list are obvious because they're obvious. 7 yards, rapid fire. Can I shoot a 2011 better than this? Absolutely. No question in my mind. Do I need? I'm not sure. So there you have it, the top 5 legendary guns of TFBTV's first 10 years. The legendary guns, they aren't just popular guns or well-reviewed guns. They're the ones that actually shaped the firearms world and this channel, but we're not done. This was the legends. The next video, the cult classics, the guns that helped build TFBTV, the weird ones, underrated ones, the ones that maybe didn't change the industry, but they absolutely left their mark on this channel and on you, our audience. Finally, we'll wrap up this series with a round of honorable mentions that just missed the cut, but still deserve a nod. Make sure you're subscribed, drop a comment if your favorite gun didn't make the list, and we'll see you in part 2.